Hello everyone, nubkeks here. We're back for our third video today. It's non-stop right now. And guys, I'm fresh out of the shower, but let me tell you, I think I'm gonna have to go back in because I am sweating. Sweating after hearing this news about the Summon Rush event, because it is an absolutely crazy one. It really, really is. So what is going on? Well, first of all, this is tomorrow, the 8th of March. It's Friday. Over the weekend, for the 72 hours, we're going to be having a 15x event for the Summon Rush Progressive Chance event with some really, really, really good champions in. But that is not all. We're going to come back to the champions because this is what has me excited. Otherwise, it's just a progressive chance event. Why am I excited? Well, because on Friday, the 8th of March, there will be an extra legendary event for ancient shards. So, very simple. You summon a legendary champion from an ancient shard, you'll get a different extra one from the same shard, which is pretty intense. Now, one thing, the extra champion won't be counted towards events, quests, or tournaments, but that doesn't make a huge difference for Summon Rush anyway, but it would for a champion chase. Doesn't really matter here. On Saturday, the 9th of March, we're going to have an extra legendary event for Sacred Shards. So it's the same thing. You get a legendary from a Sacred Shard, you get a second one. Both extra legendary events will be active for 36 hours. So you've got like Friday and half a Saturday for Ancients, then half a Saturday and Sunday for the Sacreds. This is crazy. This is crazy. Why is this crazy? Because, well, the champions are really good. They're really, really good. So, like, coming in here, let's put this into edit mode. What do I use? A marker? Yeah, there we go. Cool. So a marker, like, what would I be going for? Like, the big one for me, this could, for me, be my chance to finally get Duchess. Duchess, I think, would be the #1 pick. Again, we're just looking at Ancients and Sacreds. I'd actually rank them like this. I put Duchess #1. If you have White King Narses, I'd put Ancora as 2 or maybe 3. I'd put Elva. If you don't have Narses, I'd say Elva is better than Ancora. If you do have Narses but don't have Ancora, I mean, she was just the last fusion, then it's different. So again, Elva would be, I think, 2 or 3. It really depends. If I've got a Narses and no Ancora, I'd look for Ancora first. If I don't have Narses, I think Elva's better. I put Python #4, and Uko will be, I think, the weakest of these, #5. But they're all really good, right? These are all great legendaries. They're all revivers. You're going to use all of them a ton. All of them are fantastic. They're great. We've got the revivers over here. Let's look at just the Ancients and Sacreds first, because that's the big thing here. Ugo, Rector Drath, and Gorgrab. Again, they're all fantastic progression epics. And if you're missing any of them, they are all super good. Again, it's great to have multiple copies of Ugo for Hydra. Rector Drath is brilliant for Hydra and just in general. And Gorgrab is probably the least useful of the... Like, I probably rank them myself. That's kind of tricky. I probably rank them 1, 2, and 3. Mostly because I'd only build 1 copy of Rector, probably. But I could build easily 2. Like, for me personally, I've got 2 copies of Ugo built. I actually got a third one at 60 and booked and everything that could get gear if I ever needed it. But I think I would rank them probably like this, but they're all great. So great progression champs, right? If you're going for the fusion and your early game, you want to do the Summon Rush, there's good epics in there, which is great to see. Let's also touch on the voids. Like, let's say, again, we'll touch back on the extra thing. Let's look at the voids first. Let's say you're going, okay, forget about the whole extra event, because, you know, Ancients aren't so good for it. Let's talk about voids. I would be careful with voids because Champion Chase, which is going to be next weekend, is very likely to be a 2x void shard event. So again, if you're early game, if you're free to play, you might be needing void shards to do that one. You could also do Ancients next week and it'd be okay. These Arbiter, Bellatar, Mage Slayer, Raka, and Raglan. This is quite a tricky one, honestly. That's quite tricky. Like, I'd almost put Arbiter a bit higher than which one of... So I'm thinking about last place first. Would I put Arbiter or Raglan last? And that's difficult to say. You already have an Arbiter, so you'd be looking for just a duplicate. I'd say, you know what, let's put Arbiter last because she's a dupe. I put Raglan third. Raglan is definitely old school, but she's useful. She's okay, good progression. Then Bellatar and Raka. Again, none of these are amazing Void Legendaries, but they're sort of solid middle of the pack ones. Bellatar is interesting. He's a team revive with a shield. He has increased attack and increased defense and a heal on an AoE attack. So, like, he could actually be quite decent in Hydra. Like build him tanky in like a cursed set. He's gonna be, doing an AoE attack. He brings you cursed, gives increased attack, increased defense for your team. That's really useful for damage. He heals their team. His A1 a 50% chance to decrease a random skill of the ally with the highest turn meter by 1 turn. What is interesting about this is I feel like it sort of pales in comparison a bit to Ancora. Now, hers is random, but she decreases on a 50% chance a random skill by 2 turns. The new guy as well, St. Patrick, he comes in, he decreases a random ally skill by, 2 turns. So I feel like Bellatar's weirdly been a bit power crept there. He only decreases it by 1 turn, which is kind of a bummer. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if this was buffed at some point. It probably should be buffed to be decreases it by 2 turns, and that could be very strong. His passive can decrease ally skills by 1 turn whenever they're revived. He's okay. And then we've got Raka, who also is like kind of, okay. Raka, decent stats here. She has AoE revive with block debuffs, which isn't super good. She has a cleanse with increased attack and shield. Her A1 heals. Her passive turn meter boosts and put out continuous heals. Kind of tough. Like, which one would I rather? I don't know, actually. Maybe Bellatar. Yeah, I might actually prefer Bellatar. That's very tough. I actually find it difficult to rank them. I find it difficult to rank these ones. They're all pretty similar, actually. I might actually put Bellatar 1 because I think he's got a bigger chance to be buffed, and Raka number 2. I just think having increased defense, increased attack is kind of nice. But yeah, that's kind of a rough rating. It's tough to go. Then Godseeker and Ursula, these are both amazing. I put Godseeker 1 and Ursula 2, but again, that's a tricky one to rank because they're both really good. So that would be sort of my vibes on what I would do. But feel free to tweak. Like, I really don't have very strong feelings at all about these voids, right? You can absolutely rearrange the void rankings as you wish, and I will not complain. I feel a bit more strongly about the regular legendary ones. But again, you could mix them up if you want to. That's totally fine as well. But yeah, what is tempting for me? So here are the chances, guys. Okay. So this is probably actually slightly changed since the last patch, added in some new legendaries. So this is going to be slightly off, but still close enough to make a decision for sure. With 170 non-void legendaries in a 10x event, you have a 5.6% chance to get let's say it's a 10x for Duchess. You'd have a 5.6% chance to get Duchess when you pull the legendary from an ancient or sacred shard. They're slightly different. Sacreds would be slightly higher. I think there's slightly fewer champions can be pulled from sacreds. Again, it's all close enough though. On a 15x, you'd have an 8.2. On a 20x, a 10.6. On a 25x, a 12.9. Now, what is important, what's crucial here, this is what I've worked out. For a double legendary, because you're getting 2, you would have 1 proc at x15. I presume the second one comes out at x20. You would have approximately, if that is how it works, a 17.9% chance to get your selected champion. Bear in mind, it's also possible, it is 1 slot. It is just 1 slot, right? So if I put Duchess in there, I don't have a Duchess. I put her in. This seems great for me, right? I can come in with a 17.9% chance to get a Duchess out of this event. That's actually really solid. I'll take that. So I'm looking at my shards right now, and I've got 328 ancients, right? And I've got gems. I could get more if I wanted to. So I can definitely trigger Mercy. Now, my Mercy is absolutely miserable. I believe we're at 4 on Ancient Mercy, whereas it's about as bad as it's possible to be. And Sacred Mercy, likewise, is on 1. So we're literally in the worst spot possible for all the Mercy timers. It doesn't get any worse than that. But I still think that this is actually worth it if you have a lot of shards. Now, if you don't have a lot of shards, this becomes a different thing because it is a gamble, right? So you can take this gamble if you really want one of these. Again, like, it's not... I'd say I wouldn't be going out of my way for the Void Shards. The Void Shards are the most efficient if you want to buy them for doing Summon Rush. It's like the best paid way to do Summon Rush, Void Shards. But I wouldn't be going out of my way for it, especially because we're going to have 2x Voids almost definitely next weekend. Yeah, over here. I don't know. Like, Ancients are terrible for Summon Rush. But hey, I'm going to be pulling so many, most likely, that that's okay. So I probably will do this summon rush. Now, we did looked at the fusion calendar. One sec, let me get it up. Yeah, so here we go. This is the fusion guide I did earlier. Make sure to check that video out. Um, Mixes it up for me because I was thinking I might skip summon rush. Now I'm definitely going to do it, which means I'm probably going to just do everything. I think that thinking about it, I think most likely this hero's path, which is champions from shards and souls from soulstones, this summon rush event makes me very convinced now that this is going to be a guaranteed legendary champion. Then I think we've got a Titan event kicking off right after that. Fusion over. I think then we've got a 2-week Titan event. I think the Titan event is probably going to give the soul for Arman's the Magnificent. And then we will have a Deck of Fate event, which I think is going to give Titan points that you're going to need to get the Titan event done. I think that's what's going to happen. Another big one. So I've been talking about, it's St. Patrick. He makes a lot of sense for that one. Also, bearing in mind, right, we had Aislinn, and we had lots of different summon events for Aislinn last month. We do have Fina, who is, she's the new High Elf faction Unity champion. So I'm expecting events for her as well. So perhaps there's going to be, I don't know, she could be part of the hero's path instead. I don't know, would they just give you the faction Unity champion? Like Aislinn, they never gave a guaranteed Aislinn. It was just lots of different summon events for him. I'd definitely be expecting to see summon events for her throughout this whole thing. Yeah, it's a really interesting time to speculate. I would certainly say, for me, I've got so many shards and I've got lots of soulstones, so I'm looking pretty happy for the hero's path. So I've got so many shards, I'm good to pull all my ancients for the summon rush. I'll still have like 100 plus ancients after it. And I've got plenty of voids, primals. I've got 21s. Like, I'm solid, right? I saved my soulstones. Again, like I told you guys, the 2x event was still on. I pulled a good chunk, but I still had a good chunk left. And I said, great, I can see the fusion calendar before this ends, so I can make that decision, which is what I advise you guys to do as well. So I'm in a good spot for this, pretty much no matter what. So I'm lucky. You might not be so lucky. If you are free to play, if you are earlier game, let's assume that this hero's path is a guaranteed champion. It could be very difficult to get these points. I'd say the safer option probably is to do summon rush and do the champion chase tournament, especially because, as we talked about in the video, you can fuse the epics up during champion chase for extra points, and you can sort of game the system a little bit that way. So it's not the worst. We'll see what the points tomorrow are for summon rush, but that might be a safer option. And it's a good summon rush event. Like, it's genuinely one of the better ones. That might be a safer option. For me, I'm probably going to do everything because I'm able to do everything. So that's great. It's the peace of mind of the peace of mind of being willing to spend if I need to do this stuff and enjoying it. So I've got that opportunity. But yeah, I would be worried if I were you about how difficult this hero's path could be. I would be. And yeah, there's the Titan event as well. I would say, for an earlier game free-to-play player, I would say just grabbing Arman's would be my goal. I would probably say screw the Titan event. That's too difficult. I'd rather recuperate resources for the next fusion because the fusions have been really, really good. The new champions this year are crazy. So I want to be able to do every new fusion. If I'm a bit further on in the game or if I'm a low spender or whatever, I'd probably look towards the hero's path before the Titan event. So I would be considering, would it be possible for me to do that hero's path? Because again, I think if it is a guaranteed for Fina, I'm going to be doing a showcase at YST that should be out soon-ish. I think we're recording tomorrow, and it'll probably be out over the weekend. But she's really interesting. Quick thoughts on her, by the way, is this 2-faction ally part of her passive. No, sorry, it's this one. Or this one. Yeah, actually both. The 2-faction ally thing is insane, right? Whenever buffs are removed or stolen, also when you refresh them, it boosts their turn meter. So, it's kind of nuts. If you put her in a team with 5 buffs, and someone takes their turn and their 5 buffs expire, right? They get 50% turn meter. It's really good. She does a lot of turn meter stuff with her passive. That's surprisingly strong. So she's really interesting. And I did a showcase yesterday on Grand Oak Podrick. I think Firol is even better. Firol be great. But Grand Oak Podrick, he's very good as well. He's a great champion. So he's also definitely worth getting if you can get him. have people rate. Well, people rated him really high. I don't know if I give him a 5 everywhere. I definitely give him a 5 for Fire Knight, no question. He's amazing. But yeah, he's also really good. So yeah, there's a lot of events. So you really have to think about what you want to do and when. Yeah, certainly if you're close to Mercy, there's no harm in well, there could be, but if you're close to Mercy, this becomes quite tempting, I will say. I am not close to Mercy, and I'm going for the Duchess with my Ancients. I should say, I'm not doing it with my Sacreds. I got 21 Sacreds. They are too valuable. I'm not going to do it unless I hit my Ancient thing really early, in like the first 10 pull or something. Then I'd go in with Sacreds after that just to finish the Summon Rush fragments. So I would do that, but that's about it. Like, I'm looking to save those Sacreds for, well, probably for that Hero's Path, right? They're going to be my ticket to that Hero's Path. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. Let me know, though, what you think about all of this. It is pretty crazy. Like, I think this is just going to be how 2024 is, guys. I think there's going to be just insane events constantly. Like, really, really powerful stuff that you can grab constantly. So yeah, try not to stress out and try focus in and go like, okay, I'll do these ones and I'll skip these ones. You know, find out what you are capable of doing. And no matter what you're capable of doing, you're going to get something really powerful for your account. Just make sure you do it properly, right? Don't overstretch yourself. Try to do everything and then walk away with nothing. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.